Chapter 3 Summary. Real estate brokerage is bringing together for a fee or commission of people who wish to buy and sell and exchange or lease real estate. In New Jersey, a real estate agent can act as number 1, a seller's agent, number 2, a buyer's agent, number 3, a disclosed dual agent, number 4, a transaction broker, or number 5, a seller's agent on properties on which the firm is acting as the seller's agent, and a transaction broker on other properties. A transaction broker works with the buyers, sellers, or both without representing either one in an agency relationship. Real estate brokerage is commonly governed by the law of agents. The real estate broker is the agent hired by either a buyer or a seller of real estate to find or sell a particular parcel of real estate. The person who hires the broker is the principal or the client. The principal and the agent have the fiduciary relationship under which the agent owes the principal the duties of care, obedience, accounting, loyalty, and disclosure. Agents are required to disclose material from information about a property as well as other disclosures required by Megan's Law and standard off-site condition notices. Misrepresentation need not be intentional. Unintentional or negligent misrepresentation is also possible. Ways to avoid misrepresentation include not stating opinions as facts and referring to the questioner directly to expert sources. The best defense against claims arising from such situation is disclosure, either before the client has acted or as soon as the problem is discovered. Licensees may function as dual agents, but only after following strict rules governing disclosure of their role. Undisclosed dual agency is illegal. New Jersey's Consumer Fraud Act sets strict penalties for anyone giving false or misleading information about real estate, but sets some expectations for licensees who can prove they were not aware of the deception, had tried diligently to ascertain the true picture, and were relying on the information supplied by professionals, government employees, or sellers. The broker's compensation in a real estate sale generally takes the form of a commission, which is often, though not necessarily, a percentage of the real estate selling price. The broker is considered to have earned a commission when he or she procures a ready, willing, and able buyer for the seller or brings about a meeting of the mind. Most contracts of sale, however, provide that the commission only be paid at the closing of title. Salespeople may assist brokers as either employees or independent contractors. The salesperson is the broker's agent and usually the seller's sub-agent, or specifically retained as such, the buyer's sub-agent. Many of the general operations of a real estate brokerage are regulated by real estate license laws. In addition, state and federal antitrust laws prohibit brokers from conspiring to fix prices or allocate customers or markets. Liability claims against brokers for damages caused to buyers or sellers may arise from breach of fiduciary duty, failure to observe standard of care, conflict of interest, or misrepresentation. Professional organizations providing a code of ethics for their members include a National Association of Realtors, or NAR, the National Association of Real Estate Brokers, Realtors, and State Realtors Associations. The New Jersey Realtors, NJR, offers a variety of educational courses, including a specific course leading to the designation of Graduate Realtor Institution, GRI. Numerous other designations are available to Realtor members.
Key terms. Review 1. Agent is one authorized to act for another. Antitrust laws. Regulations prohibiting price fixing. Attorney in fact. Person authorized to act under a power of attorney. A broker. One authorized to act for another in a real estate transactions. Buyer's broker, an agent who takes a buyer as the principal. Client, principal who engages an agent. Commission, broker's usual compensation. Consumer information statement, a written explanation of the business's relationship. Customer, third party in a transaction, not the principal. Disclosed dual agent, one who works for both the seller and the buyer. Disclosure, revealing to another any pertinent information. Dual agency, brokers taking on both parties as principals. Employee, salesperson whose broker pays Social Security, regulates hours, etc. Fiduciary, one who owes special duties to another. Fiduciary relationship, trust and confidence between parties. Fraud, intentional or unintentional misleading of another who is harmed thereby. General agent, one empowered for a wide range of actions. Key terms for review 2. Independent contractor, salesperson who sets own hours, pays own estimated income taxes, etc. Kickback, illegal sharing of a commission with a seller. Latent defect, problem not disclosed by normal prudent inspection. Law of agency, rules governing conduct of agents. Listing agreement, contract by which the owner retains a broker to find a buyer. Meeting of the minds, agreement between a buyer and seller on major points. Megan's Law, legislation requiring that communities be alerted to the presence of sex offenders. Power of attorney, written authorization of an agency. Principal, the one employing an agent, the client. Procuring cause, the one who brings about a sale. Puffing, harmless exaggeration as salesmanship. Ready, willing, and able buyer, one qualified and prepared to purchase. Salesperson, person licensed to assist a real estate broker. Special agent, one authorized to act for another in a specific transaction. Sub-agent, agent of an agent. Transaction broker, one who facilitates a transaction without functioning as an agent. Key terms review 3. Code of ethics, standards of conduct adopted by realtors. Conflict of interest, problem when serving best interest of both the client and oneself. Errors and omissions insurance, real estate equivalent of malpractice coverage. Fraudulent misrepresentation, intentional fraud. Graduate of Realtor Institute, designation awarded for advanced study. Innocent misrepresentation, unintentional deception committed in ignorance. National Association of Realtors, private nationwide organization of brokers and salesperson. Negligent misrepresentation, fraud committed by someone who should have known better. New Jersey Realtors, statewide group of real estate licensees who chose to join. Realtor, member of a private national organization. Standard of care, competence normally expected. Review questions. The legal relationship between a broker and seller is generally an special agency. The real estate broker can be hired as an agent through the documentation known as a listing agreement. The statement, a broker must be employed to recover a commission for his services, means someone must have agreed to pay commission to the broker for selling the property. The procuring cause of a sale is sometimes hard to determine. A listing may be terminated when either the broker or principal goes bankrupt. When retained by the seller, the broker owes a prospective buyer honest treatment. The salesperson who sincerely tries to represent both the buyer and seller is practicing dual agency. A seller who wishes to cancel a listing agreement in New Jersey may be held liable for money and time. The buyer of residential property is entitled to find out about the presence of a convicted sex offender in the neighborhood after the sale of the property has closed. Molly's father bought a house in 1940 for $4,500. She asks Bob's broker to list it and instructs him to see if he can get as much as $85,000 because she heard the house has gone up in value. Bob knows the property might bring $250,000. Bob should tell Molly that he believes the house is worth much more. An example of latent defect is a malfunctioning septic system. An independent contractor may be paid commission on sales. Commissions usually are earned when the seller accepts the buyer's offer without conditions. Even if a proposed transaction does not go through, the broker sometimes may collect a commission where the seller simply backed out. A salesperson's commission on a real estate transaction is paid within 10 days after the broker is paid for the transaction. To be entitled to collect a commission on a real estate transaction, an agent must be the procuring cause of the transaction. Henry lists his house with broker Larry. Henry offers a bonus commission of $500 to the agent who brings a good buyer before Thanksgiving. Sam, who is associated with the cooperating firm of Olive Olson, effects the sale on November 1st. Sam may collect the bonus from Olive Olson. Eileen Brenner walks into the Rivera open house and realizes that the house is exactly what she's been looking for. That evening, Tyrone, the salesperson who held the open house, calls Eileen and asks if she wants to present an offer. Eileen says that she'll think it over. The next day, Eileen's sister Helen, a real estate agent in another part of the state, presents an offer for her, which the Riveras accept. Who is the procuring cause of the sale? Tyrone, because he introduced her to the property and followed up. Commission rates are set by the agreement between the seller and the broker. At a booth in a neighborhood coffee shop, broker Larry Jones is seated with his friendly rival, Olive Olson. Olive says, "Did you hear about the firm that's charging a flat fee for selling the property? Do you think they'll make it?" Larry's proper response is to point out to Olive that it is a violation of federal antitrust law for competing brokers to discuss any aspect of commission rates. The transaction broker represents no one. A Consumer Information Statement, or CIS, is required for transactions involving 1 to 4 family dwellings. A dual agent cannot provide advice on the right price to accept. Jenny purchases a lovely vintage home from an elderly woman who lived there for many years. Valerie enters into a contract to have Bofo Builders construct a new home for her in the new Sterling Pond development. If a hazardous waste landfill is discovered within 3/4 of a mile of either of these properties, what will be the result? Valerie, but not Jenny, has 5 days in which to cancel. All of the following would be considered material information about a property in New Jersey except the previous owner's suicide. The duty of loyalty forbids the seller's broker to suggest an offer under the listed price. When the buyer gives the seller's broker information about possible financial problems in completing the purchase, the broker should inform the seller immediately. If an agent in the previous question is acting as a buyer's broker, the most correct response for the broker is to explain to the buyer that not revealing the problem to the seller may constitute concealment of a material defect. Negligent misrepresentation occurs when The speaker should know the statement is false. The term realtor applies only to members of a private organization. New Jersey Consumer Fraud Act allows exemption from liability in some circumstances.